Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Van Day. You are a Conservative councillor for Thurrock in Essex.
For Aveley and Uplands Ward in Thurrock.
In Thurrock, OK.
Yeah.
And do you have aspirations now to be a Member of Parliament?
Well, someone once said, actually, I think it was Matthew Parrish, who said anybody who walks into Parliament, they all want to be Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Well, not me. I'm very happy where I am.
We should be ruling the world again, shouldn't we, David?
And that's what we needed. We needed someone like Boris to talk it up a bit. Yeah. We didn't have enough politicians talking Britain up. Everybody putting it down all the time. But I know for a fact outside of the UK that people, as I say, they're always saying, put the Union Jack on your brand. Let everybody know it's British. It's a great mark.
Do you know, I could see Prime Minister Van Day in the distant future.
Well, look, if Donald Trump can become president, a reality TV show star, it's chances for you.
Right,
even.
OK. Yes, well, yes, I have been in Big Brother. OK, you're right. I could not believe how rude the Scots were. They booed Boris, and I thought it was incredibly rude.
People didn't get a chance to have their say at the ballot box because, as we know, Boris was elected
but
by 0.2%
that's how we do it in this country. If it had been Labour, it would have been the same.
If they could only get 50 tired SNP activists out there to do, I think that he's not as unpopular as people
When
think.
I said that on the radio the other evening, we were flooded with calls from Scotland saying that does not represent us, and we don't want people to think we were rude to this country.
So often people think that the SNP is synonymous with Scotland,
Yeah.
but they didn't win the last election. They didn't win a majority in Scotland. They lost the independence vote. This is a party that doesn't represent Scotland, and it's so important to talk about Scotland as a unionist country because that's the majority.
Well, we have still had a lot of dissent to Boris Johnson's premiership, and I don't think it creates a very good, healthy democratic culture to kind of talk down to and dismiss people who exercise their democratic right to protest. We also had the demo on Wednesday, which marched from Russell Square to Westminster, that had thousands of people on it, and not just thousands of people, but thousands of people that, as someone who's been on demos many times before, it looked nothing like your classic demo. It was teenagers, it was like young people who had come out to occupy the streets because they felt like this premiership did not represent them.
I'm really happy to see that young people are getting involved in politics because I don't think enough people have, and I think people are frightened of the word politics, and I'd like to change it to life.
Hugely engaged
in
politics.
Well, that's good.
Hugely.
But people have to understand that the system in this country is that you vote for the party, not for the person. Maybe we need to change that.
But the system in this country is also that you can take to the streets to protest if you're not happy with what's going on.
But we also have empirical data that we can look at. Boris Johnson has a wide lead in the polls. He's 10 points ahead of Labour. Just today there was a poll that showed Jeremy Corbyn was third place behind Boris Johnson and don't know in terms of preferred Prime Minister. So yes, people have a right to protest, but also we in the media have a responsibility to put that in context and show that yes, some people are out on the streets. Some people don't like it, but they're not representative.
Do you think that Jeremy Corbyn is electable as Prime Minister in this country?
No. I think that the question of electability, the Conservative ideas of what is electable has been proven wrong time and time again. If you look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, if you look at Bernie Sanders, if you look at Jeremy Corbyn becoming leader of the Labour Party, if you look at Donald Trump, these are
we
all
getting
people...
to a yes, Dahlia, or a no?
Well, I mean, of course, it's obviously by default that I believe that Jeremy Corbyn is electable.
But he's doing terribly in the polls at the moment.
Well, I think that when Jeremy Corbyn does not have a chance to present his ideas...
I've asked Jeremy Corbyn to come on this programme time and time and time again on my radio show, and he never even replies. He doesn't even have the courtesy to reply.
Because he's busy touring the country, building for a green industrial revolution.
Putting his foot in it.
Building for a green industrial revolution. When you look at the last snap election, when he had the opportunity to present his vision for the country, he did far better than anyone else thought he would do.
Well, so comparing Jeremy Corbyn to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who won a primary within a deeply, deeply democratically held seat. This isn't someone who won over an electorate that was anything other than far left.
Harry and Meghan have decided to only have 2 children. I think that's a great idea. I don't see why anybody would want more than 2 children at all, as this planet is getting ever smaller and ever more crowded. But they're doing it for green reasons. Now, my views, well known. It's all this climate change. Bring it on. Get warmer. That's what I say.
To me, this is just Malthusianism. If anyone,
Tom, what does that mean for
if
those
anyone's
people
aware
like me
of Thomas Malthus, who was
Right.
someone who believed that as soon as the Earth got to reach 1 billion people, there wouldn't be enough resources to go round. There'd be mass famine, starvation, hunger, war, deprivation. We're a planet
Same
now
sort of person
of
that
7
thought
billion
that if you
people.
went faster than 80 miles an hour, you'd die.
Exactly,
Yeah,
or
it's
even
a right.
with the Flying Scotsman, 30 miles an hour. We've had
Yes.
these naysayers and doubters for years.
Two
But-
children per family? They should bring a law in like they did in
I
China.
think-
They only had one in
no.
China, wasn't it?
They've taken enough of our civil liberties, over the years.
Actually, we should be looking at climate change not as just a series of behavioural personal changes, but systemic changes. You're right in that we do have enough food, we do have enough land, we do have enough to feed and house a growing population, but we have an economic and political system that hoards all of those resources for the few at the expense of the many.